Okay, so are you ready to jump into this deep dive today?
Always up for a deep dive. What are we diving into today?
Well, today we're going into the world of Hermitcraft. And specifically, we're going to be looking at one of the Hermit's SmallishBeans and using his series on Hermitcraft 10 to look into, like, I don't know, sort of like the world of Hermitcraft and kind of what goes on. For any listeners who might not know, how would you describe Hermitcraft?
So Hermitcraft is a very popular Minecraft server. What makes it so interesting is that it's a collection of mostly YouTubers, actually, who are all playing on a server together. And it's really interesting because you get this kind of like emergent community where they set up their own rules. There is no sort of like well, I mean, there are admins, but there's no like over-governing body that's like, this is how you will behave.
Right.
It's kind of like they set up their own rules, they set up their own economies, they prank each other, and it's really fascinating to watch it all play out.
Yeah, it's like watching the formation of a civilization, but in Minecraft.
Exactly. And that's a good way to put it.
And so we're watching SmallishBeans. He is a part of this community, and we're seeing it kind of through his eyes.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that happens fairly early on, at least in the episodes that we were watching, was that he finds diamonds for the first time.
Oh, yeah.
Which is always an exciting moment in any Minecraft playthrough. Oh, always. It's like, it's funny, isn't it? Because it's such a virtual accomplishment. But it feels so real.
Yeah.
Because it represents so much possibility, so many other things that you can then achieve, you know? It's like that first hurdle, isn't it?
Right. He's like, yes, you can just like hear how excited he is to have finally gotten them.
Yeah. And he's very good at celebrating those little victories, which I appreciate. He almost immediately then falls in a hole and nearly dies.
Yes, literally, like right after, right. It's this excitement and then almost immediate despair.
Exactly. That's part of what makes him so endearing to watch, though, isn't it? Because it's relatable. You get so caught up in the achievement, and then suddenly you make a mistake, and he owns those mistakes as well, which I think is really good. It's true. And so even in these early game stages, I mean, obviously this is something that's going to play out over, you know, hundreds and hundreds of episodes.
Yeah.
But you can already see as he's setting up his base, he is very meticulous about it.
Yes. I noticed that as well.
Like he builds this very simple wheat farm.
Yeah.
And he puts leaves down everywhere so that there's no exposed dirt.
Absolutely. And that to me speaks to his kind of his approach to design generally within Minecraft.
Yeah.
Where he doesn't like to leave anything sort of unfinished or rough around the edges.
Right.
He really likes things to be quite polished and neat.
And you can kind of see that emerge later, but we'll get into that in a minute. But he really does have a particular like aesthetic that he goes for.
Yeah, absolutely.
But so then as his base kind of develops over the episodes that we were watching, he creates like this massive sprawling complex.
Oh, it's unbelievable, isn't it?
Yeah.
What they managed to achieve in that game.
It's amazing.
The scale of their ambition is just mind-blowing.
It goes from this tiny little, you know, hole in the ground to this multi-level, multi-farm. Like he has a whole cyberpunk district. Like, it's unbelievable. He even has an underground fight club.
I mean, talk about variety.
I know. It's amazing. And like, I don't even know like what goes into the planning of something like that.
Well, and the thing is, right, he's having to balance that against the fact that he is also producing content.
Right.
So he's got this constant pressure of like, I've got to make this look good. I've got to make this interesting, but also I've got to make this practical because I need these resources in order to
progress the game. Yeah.
To do the next thing. Yeah.
And it's not just about having the resources. You have to like logistically get them from one place to another.
Oh, the logistics are a nightmare.
I know.
Just watching him try and figure out how to get like the minecart systems and everything running. It's like,
and he has like these elaborate systems for getting like items from one place to another.
Factory in there.
It's wild. But I mean, and this is kind of, I think, what you were getting at. This speaks to his kind of desire to have things be perfect.
Yeah, totally. And it's not just about aesthetics. It's about efficiency.
Yes.
He wants to streamline everything, optimize every process.
Which I think is something a lot of people who play Minecraft can relate to, right?
Well, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think there's a certain satisfaction in creating these intricate systems, even if it's just virtual, you know?
Totally. So, like, even when he's building this massive glow ink sac farm, which, by the way, I don't think I've ever seen a glow ink sac farm.
It's quite something.
That's that big.
Yeah, it's ambitious.
And, I mean, they're useful, but they're not, like...
No, they're not the most, essential
item in the game.
Yeah, yeah.
But he's like, I'm going to make this huge farm. And even there, it's not just about like, oh, I'm going to have a ton of glow ink sacs. He's like meticulously planning out where the water flows are going to be.
It's all about maximizing yield.
Yes. He's like, I'm going to have these light sources in very specific places so that it controls where the mobs spawn. It's like next level.
Well, it speaks to that problem-solving aspect, right? Yeah. He's using the game's mechanics to his advantage.
It's very clever.
Yeah. And that, to me, is what's so fascinating about watching these really experienced players, is they're not just kind of, going through the motions.
They're like bending the game to their will.
Exactly. They're bending the game to their will, and they're using their knowledge of the game in such a creative way.
Yeah, and this is just the beginning, right?
No, this is just the tip of the iceberg.
So it's not all like meticulously planned farms and, optimized minecart systems?
Oh, absolutely not. In fact, that meticulousness often makes him the perfect target for pranks.
Oh, right, because the pranks in Hermitcraft are like their own art form.
Absolutely. It's like their own little subculture, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just like really creative chaos.
Yeah, and it's funny because it's chaos, but it's chaos within like a very specific set of social rules.
Exactly. And that's what I find so fascinating about it, is that there's this understanding that,
it's all in good fun.
It's all in good fun.
Yeah.
And you're not really, going to truly derail somebody by, blowing up all their stuff or whatever.
Right.
So there are still boundaries.
Yeah.
But within those boundaries, there's a lot of scope for creativity.
Yeah. So, for instance, SmallishBeans, he's both a prankster and he's pranked himself.
No, he's definitely
quite a bit
on the receiving end of a few good ones.
Oh, yeah. Like, he gets hit with this horse curse at one point.
Oh, the horse curse, yeah.
Where his base is just flooded with horses. And
that's such a classic Hermitcraft prank as well.
I know.
It's like harmless, right?
Yeah.
It's just inconvenient.
It's like mildly annoying.
Yeah. But it's also hilarious.
I know.
Because you just imagine them spawning in and they're like, what is going on?
And then there's just like a million horses everywhere.
And no one ever owns up to it either.
Right.
It's like this mysterious force.
Which I think is also part of the fun.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, who did this?
Yeah.
And no one will ever know.
It just adds to the legend.
But then he's on the other side of it too, right?
Yeah.
Like, he's the one planting those lifelike statues of Etho. Oh, the Etho statues. Oh my God.
Outside Etho's base.
They were so good, weren't they?
It's like, how did he even do that?
And he got the scale exactly right.
I know. And like,
it was so creepy.
The level of detail.
Yeah, it was so well done.
It's amazing.
And I think what made that prank so good was it played on Etho's like paranoia a little bit, because Etho is always convinced that people are like out to get him.
Right. Yeah. It's kind of
in a pranky way, obviously, but
it's the thing.
Yeah.
Right.
So to have these statues just like appearing,
it's like his worst nightmare.
It's genius, really.
But it's genius because it plays into like the way that they play the game and their personalities, which makes it so much funnier.
Yeah. It's not just a random prank.
It's a prank that's very specific.
It's tailored to the person.
It's the target.
It's like it's personalized.
It's personalized pranking.
It's amazing, but it's not just the pranks, right?
No,
that make it so interesting.
They also have a whole economy.
Oh my gosh, yes, and it's like totally,
which is fascinating, right?
Player created.
Because again, it's emergent.
Yeah,
it wasn't something that was like hard coded into the server or anything. Right. It's just something that evolved organically.
Yeah, like they just started trading with each other and then it became...
Yeah, they needed a way to like
this whole...
assign value to things.
It's wild.
So they just kind of came up with their own system.
Yeah. So like there's bartering and then they have like an actual currency.
Diamonds are usually involved at some point.
Yes. Right.
Yeah. Just because they're...
Which makes sense.
A fairly universally recognized...
It's like the gold standard.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, Minecraft. But then... like SmallishBeans, he gets in on this whole thing.
Oh, yeah. He loves a bit of trading.
He's like, I'm going to set up all these shops. So he's got this honey shop.
Yeah. Well, he's got the resources, right? He's got those massive farms.
Right.
He's got to do something with all that stuff.
I know. So he sets up a honey shop, and then he's got like the glow ink sacks. He's like, okay, I'm going to get in on this too.
And it's interesting to watch his kind of approach to it because he's very strategic about it.
He's very strategic about it. Yeah.
He's thinking about like supply and demand.
Yeah.
He's thinking about pricing.
He's trying to corner the market on glow ink sacs.
Yeah. He wants to be the glow ink sac king.
Which, I mean, hey, if you can be the king of something in Minecraft.
Why not?
Why not, right? And then, like, it even gets to the point where...
What's really funny is when they start getting into, like, the bureaucratic side of it.
Yes. Like, Ryan sets up a permit office.
The permit office.
Oh, my God. And you have to, like, get permits?
I know. It's hilarious.
It's hilarious. It's, like, the most mundane thing.
I know.
But they've managed to make it entertaining.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
And then, of course, SmallishBeans is like trying to get a duplicate permit.
He's always trying to find a way, isn't he?
For his glow ink sac shop.
To bend the rules just a little bit.
It's amazing.
Yeah. But it's all in good fun. It is all in good fun. But it's just amazing to me.
It's amazing to me.
How they create these systems within the game.
Yeah. It speaks to, I think, something fundamental about human nature, doesn't it?
Totally.
That even when we're given this kind of blank slate,
it's like a whole society.
we can't help but create structures and rules and systems.
Yeah. And then like try to find ways to exploit them.
Yeah. That's part of it too.
It's fascinating.
It is. It's fascinating.
So we've seen SmallishBeans build this crazy base. He's navigating this world of elaborate pranks, and he's even like a, I don't know, tycoon in the Hermitcraft economy.
Yeah.
But it feels like there's something even bigger here that we're kind of getting at.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, what we're really talking about here is community, right? And the ways in which, even in a virtual space, people can come together and create something that feels really meaningful. Yeah,
and that's something I really wanted to emphasize to the listeners. Like, this isn't just a bunch of guys playing a video game. Like, there's real...
It's so much more than that.
Human connection happening.
Yeah. And I think you see that most clearly in the relationships between the different hermits.
Yeah, like SmallishBeans and, like, Ep5 working together.
Yeah. Their collaborations are amazing, aren't they?
They're so good. And it's like they will spend...
hours and
hours on these projects.
Yeah, and they're constantly bouncing ideas off of each other, and you can see how much they enjoy that process.
Yeah, it's really cool. Or like his kind of, I don't know, like friendly rivalry with Etho.
Yeah,
like they're constantly
always trying to one up each other,
pranking each other. Yeah, but it's always like very clearly
good-natured. Yeah,
right. There's like an understanding that.
There's a respect there.
Yeah.
I think that's really important.
Definitely. But, like, even when things go wrong, which they inevitably do.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is Minecraft, right? Things are going to explode.
Exactly. Like, I think there was that one time where SmallishBeans accidentally blew up a part of Jasumavoid's base while trying to pull a prank. And, like, immediately...
Felt terrible, though, didn't he?
He felt bad about it. He's like, oh, I'm so sorry. Let me help you rebuild.
Yeah, yeah. Which I think speaks to the fact that even though this is a game, there's still a sense of responsibility.
It's like they've built this society that has its own rules and its own...
It's a microcosm of society in a way, isn't it? It's fascinating.
It's like this weird social experiment, but in the best way possible.
And with fewer real-world consequences, thankfully.
Yeah, exactly. But, I don't know, I think there's something kind of inspiring about it, right?
Definitely.
These guys have managed to create this really cool, collaborative community.
And a lot of it comes down to, I think, a shared passion, right? Yeah. They all love Minecraft.
They're passionate about the game.
And
you can see that in everything they do.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that, you know, even if you're not into Minecraft, like that's something to be...
It's something to aspire to, I think.
Yeah.
To find something that you're that passionate about.
Absolutely.
And to find people who share that passion.
Yeah. So I think that's a good place to maybe wrap things up.
I think so too.
So listeners, if there's one thing that you take away from this deep dive, it's that...
Minecraft is awesome.
Yeah. But also...
But there's so much more to it.
Yeah. There's so much more to it than just the game.
Yeah. Like, there's real human connection there.
Absolutely.
And I think that's something that, you know, we can all learn from.
I think so, too. So go out there, find your community, find your passion, and
build something amazing.
All right. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.